The baby's sleeping. The baby is sleeping. The baby is sleeping. The baby is sleeping. The baby is sleeping. Why did you do that? Leafy. The baby is sleeping. Don't disturb him. He's sleeping. My baby. My baby's sleeping. I got by a department store. I got. I walked by House of Fraser, and they had this in the window, and so I went in and I bought it. Because I couldn't resist. His tail's going. Baby sleeping. I'll just leave him in the office, ref. I've got my own storage closet in the office. It's Lewis's room. It's not, but a decent amount of my stuff goes in, like, one of the recording rooms when I leave. Unless Pedguin explodes his PC and then he goes in and steals mine from the recording room, because the ones that we have on loan from the office are so shit. The one that I borrowed originally, it got the job done, but I'm pretty sure no one ever opened it up and cleaned it for 700 years. So, yeah. But most of the time everything goes into a big old bin. And we've got lots of room in the basement as well. They have two 4090s now. I can steal those.
Happy New Year.
Alvar, thank you very much for the 11 months. Before I got here the first time, though, with this PC, Pedguin helped by setting it up. But he was dumb and he logged into it. And then I had to log out of everything so that I wasn't stealing his identity. But it was nice that he set it up so that I didn't have to get here and wait. But I had to log out of everything. And then when he borrowed it again, I once again had to log out of everything, and I'm still going to websites and finding that I'm logged in as Pedguin. And I'm like, you fucking idiot. He could have pranked me. He could have put some sort of booby anime games on the computer, but he did not. I could have also impersonated him. What was the last thing that he was logged into? I went to log into some, like, streamer website, and it was like, hello, Pedguin, and I was like, you have the wrong stormtrooper, or whatever the fuck. Clear the cookies. I do need to do that, but then the problem is it logs me out of everything. I got sent a gift card to my Yogscast email address, and I didn't use the gift card for weeks because my email got logged out on the PC, and some of my passwords are so encrypted that I have to keep them in a notebook on my phone. And so I waited to cash the gift card for like 3 weeks because I couldn't be arsed to get my phone. I'm like looking for my phone when it's right here. I couldn't be arsed to get my phone, open up Samsung Notes, and then log into my email. Very nice Charmander. A physical note. Oh my god, that would make it even worse, Fushva. Also, thank you for being... what's it called? Significant Otter. Thank you very much. My brain's gone. Look up your history by date and clear the sites from before you started using it. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Jamalki, thanks for the 9 months. Happy New Year. Paramount, thank you very much for using Prime for 4 months. Alvar, thank you very much for 11 months. Veltho, thank you for using Prime. Welcome. Thanks for subscribing for the first time. My new name is Caitlin. Thanks for the 8 months split. Tier 2 in 40 months. That's a long time, dude. Are you sure, dude? Soprando, 18 months. Zara Tenebris, thank you very much for the 8 months. Megatron, thanks for the 9 months. Sid, 37 months. Sid believed in me before the Yogscast even did. Can you believe that? Sid knew. Sid knew that I had potential before the Yogscast even did. Thank you, Sid. You're a sweetie. Keej, thank you very much for the 21 months. Spooky, thanks for gifting out 5 subs. Thank you. Sapphire, thanks for the 20 months. And we even got Fov.
Happy 2022.
We got Fov.
Time, please stop Pisialurk.
The Ark, thanks for the 30 months. Fov Prime for 27 months. He likes me, chat. He likes me. And Ref resubbed 18 minutes ago and thought that he would get away with it. And he's tier 3 for 35 months. Thank you, Ref. Also, thank you, Purified. 2 years.
2 years.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much. Did we say thank you to Walnut? Walnut, thanks for the 28 months. He does use Prime every month. It's true. So that means Fav loves me. He loves me. It's okay. It's okay, Fav. You can love me. He does. He's doing this at his PC right now. But notice how there's a slight smile. There's a smile on the face. Hi, Reven. Hello, Nyron. Hello, Azul. Torb. Everyone doing nopers at Torb. Everyone combine the powers of your nopers at Torb. And at him in the message, too.
Happy New Year,
Amy.
Boba.
Thanks for the 3 months. Owlbear, 7 months, thank you. Tobe is on probation right now. And he was not even released on good behavior either. He is not reformed. Torb was bad today, and he had to go to prison for it. Torb? I don't believe it for a second.
Ribrim.
Demark, thank you very much for the 11 months. And DeLuca, 1 year. Thank you very much. The shame bell. It's true. I'm not believing it, Torb, you fuck. I'm not believing it. I'm not believing it. I might be a little bit more low energy today. I do feel kind of sleepy. I did not take a nap.
Shame Torb.
Andy, thanks for the 40 months. I had a little bit of coffee. Not a crazy amount. Hey, Lucy. Yesterday, I woke up with a migraine. Hedgwin, thank you very much for the raid. Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm going to talk about Avatar now, even though you already did. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. We're going to play Valheim in a bit. Just a bit. Is that what a migraine sounds like? No. Oh my gosh. Migraines... Sometimes I'm like, do I get migraines or do I just get headaches? But then the headache lasts the entire day and is horrible pain. But I woke up with one yesterday morning. And it was like in my neck and the very base of my head, which usually I get when I wake up, a migraine like that. So I took Excedrin and I ate some breakfast, and then I waited a little bit. It wasn't going away, so I took another Excedrin, and then Duncan texted our group and was like, does anyone want to go see Avatar at 3 p.m? So I was like, you know what? I've got a migraine. Why not double up? Why not double up? Avatar 3D? Maybe I'll reverse it. Maybe if I double up on them like this, I can double up. A double whammy. It will... 2 negatives will make it a positive and my migraine will go away. Spoilers, it did not. So we went and quite a few of us saw Avatar 3D. The 3D is not even worth it. It did not make much of a difference. And most of the time with the 3D, I was like looking at the film and I was like, which part am I supposed to be looking at? Because something in the foreground would be immensely blurry, and then you would have like the avatar person and they were not blurry, and then the background would be blurry, and I'm like, which part am I supposed to, what am I allowed to look at? Scientists say it's the best way to get rid of a migraine, but by blasting your eyes with 3D. Did you have your contacts? I did.
Av since last year. Happy New Year, Bobson Cha.
Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you very much for the bits. Last year, eh? Last year. I had my contacts. My contacts are right now. I had a bunch left over from my old prescription, which my prescription's only gone up by like 0.25, as in worse. Same for me, Pip. Pip says there's some sort of point of no return. At some point, if I try to eat or take meds, it just won't stay down. I did get kind of nauseous and stuff. Vertical heterophoria. I can't remember. Because the word to me just makes me think that I don't like heterosexuals when they're standing up instead of when they're lying down, I guess. That's just what it makes. I don't know I can't remember what it means. I think you did, and all answer of what it is has left my brain. The 3D was weird. Trace. The 3D was weird. And the film, like, it ended, and what happened was it showed the Avatar title screen. It said Avatar, The Way of Water at the very end. And I was like, wow, that's a weird place to put the title screen. Like, there's an hour left of the film, isn't there? But it was over. Because I lost all concept of time because I hadn't looked at my phone at all. And the film felt so long anyways. And on top of that, there felt like there was no beginning, middle, or end to the film. It just all felt like middle. And then the entire thing, I felt very uncomfortable watching because it felt like it's once again just Pocahontas. And on top of that, I feel like I was having a peek into James Cameron's like kinks and fetishes, and I did not like it. It feels very like fetishization and sexualization of indigenous people. I know a lot of people have spoken up about it as well, which that thought had somehow completely left my mind before I saw it. And then while I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, this feels weird. Like Quentin Tarantino with feet, something like that. And then, like, it did not improve, Lauren. It's worse. Like, Pedguin said in his stream, too, that the first hour of it just felt like some kind of weird blue people porn. Because, Lauren, it improved for James. It did. So, in the film, they introduce the new tribe, and they're just meant to mirror Maori people. I don't know terminology and stuff, so of course correct me. They did go balls to the wall with the racism. It felt so weird to watch. 'Cause like they introduce the water tribe, and they've got like Polynesian and Maori style tattoos and stuff. And their bodies are, like, different. They still have the weird stretched out, like, very skinny torsos and everything. And, of course, none of them cover their nipples or something. I don't know. But they have, like, different arms that are like more suited for pronouncing Maori. Now, Maori. Maori? Is that it? Maori. Maori. Mayo-ri. Maori. Meowri. They're telling me meowri? Maori, okay. So, like, their arms are, like, flatter to swim, and they have a flat tail. Why is it racist? They're aliens. They're very much specifically, like... It's very much the white man savior thing again. But also just... It's so weird. So then they had the Water Tribe, who had, like... I don't remember what these are called. All of the tattoos. And then... I've never seen it, but is it, like, hardcore racism? No, they don't do the thing where they make up words for them and stuff. It wasn't as bad as Pocahontas 2. As in... Pocahontas 2 was just a dumpster fire anyways. It's weird, the fact that these are supposed to be alien races, and then he's just putting indigenous people into alien.
Oh, you have a good new year.
Thank you very much. Oh, I cannot read. I'll look at my email so I can... Oh no, it's gonna just say your name. Heck! Dang it! Someone in the chat say what it is, because I can't read. No, there was a Pocahontas. $61! What the heck? Thank you very much. I need to get the Stream Elements thing back on here. 6131. Who is it from? Did you mean to send that? Thank you very, very much. Feline. Thank you, Feline. Thank you very much. I would say don't see it, honestly. It was cool to look at visually. And the water was really pretty. But it's just weird. Like, on the continued thought of when they got to the water people, like, they had all of the, like, tattoos and stuff. They were very into, like, similar beliefs that Maori are. And, like, I was reading up on it and stuff on Reddit. Blobby
You had a
Blue.
good new year, and you are once again a highlight of English Jam.
Thank you so much. That's very kind. Thanks for the 16 months. And one thing when they did it, and I just rolled my eyes, was they were about to, like, go fight some people. And so the water Navi were doing the... Is it the puka? Which is where they do the face where they make the really... They almost did the haka. They almost... Like, I was expecting that to happen because they did the face where they stick out their tongue. I don't know what it's called. But once they did that, I was like... Are you fucking serious? It was just weird. I felt weird watching it. They're not even trying to hide it, no. Like, it was very much like, look at these, it's the Maori. It was too much. I'm talking about the Avatar movie, yeah. I thought that it was a beautiful use of technology, and it has a nice thing about, like, respecting nature, but the vessel and the means of delivering the message are too, like, it's too much of this weird fetishization, romanticizing of, like, indigenous peoples in a weird way. And, like, using indigenous people as, like, a way of being, like, respect nature and stuff. I think the main, and I'm using the terminology from the film, so I think the main tribe leader of, exoticism. I think the main tribe leader of the water tribe is of Maori or Polynesian descent. And they had some people from New Zealand in the film. However, the wife of the tribe leader was Kate Winslet, and I don't think she has anything to do with that. And it feels weird because I saw on TikTok there was a person who was using the avatar filter on TikTok, which makes you look like an avatar, and it was someone who's black, and they were like, you know, the reason why this filter looks the best on POC, they're like, because the avatar Na'vi are like, they are basically, you know, their traits and their facial form and everything is based on that. And that's what that person was saying. It does feel like weird digital blackface. It was weird. Because I looked afterwards, because of course they gave Jake Sully dreads as well in this new one. And it's just very strange. It all was very strange. The Water Tribe? The Water Tribe all had, like, distinctly textured hair and everything like that. So I was hoping at least, like, you know, people that had, like, certain traits would be portrayed by actors that it felt like at least there was representation. And then I looked it up, and the main woman was Kate Winslet, and I thought, this is strange. And I'm trying to, like, articulate myself in a proper way as someone who is white and trying to talk about this. I don't think I have the correct, like, verbiage and everything, but that's just, it's so strange. It's so strange. He full-on admitted to racism, too. I wouldn't be surprised. He really said, let me appropriate as many different POC cultures as I can. It feels like, and this is like the thought that was in my brain. It feels like James Cameron wants to be a person of indigenous descent, because it feels like Jake Sully could be very much a self-insert for him, because you have this white person who was previously a soldier. I don't think that has anything to do with James Cameron. You have this white person who suddenly, you know, follows the beliefs of these indigenous people of this planet, which that's cool. You can change your views and everything like that. But then he also gets to, like, take on their physical appearance. And that feels weird. You know what I mean? I don't know how to speak on it because I am not a person of color and I am not of any indigenous descent. But that's, like, my kind of general take on it, is that it just felt scummy, and it felt weird, and it felt like a lot of fetishization. So, yeah. Let's see. It just is strange. So I would not recommend seeing it, because first of all, it was boring as fuck. There was no beginning, middle, or end to the film. And then on top of that, it just feels like weird porn. I do really enjoy the main actress's name. The main act. I'm reading, like, chat at the same time and just reading words out loud. Which film? The new Avatar. I really like the main actress, who is also Gamora or whatever. She's really cool. She's a really good actress. It would be like he skinned a person alive and wore their corpse around to pretend to look like someone else. It's very strange. Fares, thanks for gifting 3 subs. Thank you very much. Zoe Saldana. Yeah, she's really cool. And then I really like Sigourney Weaver as an actress too, but they did something weird with her character where she's, like, very spiritual, and spoilers if you are interested in seeing the film, I don't recommend it. She might be, like, the reincarnated spirit. I feel like there's some weird Jesus stuff going on too. She had She had a baby champ. Someone got her pregnant, and no one knows who. Immaculate Conception champ. Immaculate Conception. Immaculate Conception. No one know who the daddy is. And she's like, basically, she's like Jesus. She's like Jesus. Get a bingo sheet out for generic writing. Exactly. So she connected her USB to the main tree, and I think that means that she got pregnant by the tree or something. Yeah, it's very strange, dear bits. So now her character is Jesus, and then in the film, the like science dudes, it's so strange. The science dudes are like, she's not having religious experiences, she's just epileptic and having visions and hallucinations. So don't let her ever connect to the spirit tree again, or she'll have more epilepsy. So basically, the scientists are like, she's not Jesus, she's just sick. And I was like, okay, dude. They saved her body, champ. They saved her avatar body. Did the 3D and frame rate make you feel sick? Yeah, I had to take my glasses off sometimes. It's fucking weird, which is more of why not only are indigenous people saying they don't support the film, but also it's just not a good film, and everything is cliche, and everything's kind of gross and doesn't make you feel good. The one positive that I like from the film is Jake Sully's youngest child is just so sweet. And I think so I'm just gonna fucking spoil the entire film because it doesn't matter, because it's not good. So the children get captured by the military about 4 separate times, and there is a point where they get captured, they get handcuffed to the ship, someone comes and unhandcuffs them, they fall in the water, someone finds them and immediately handcuffs them again. And the littlest one, who is a sweet character, I do like their little character, but I think it's because they're just cute. She's like, or they're like, oh man, I can't believe I'm handcuffed again. And I was like, yeah, that's how I fucking feel. I can't believe you're handcuffed again. Forrest said she enjoyed the sign language aspects. There is sign language being used in it because they communicate underwater and they can't do so except with their hands, so that was cool. Because it was some sort of representation, I guess. But they're just like me, for real, yeah. I've never watched the first one, but would you say the same criticisms apply to that film, or was it handled more sensitively? I think it set it up for more racism. Is it ASL as assumed instead of like any other sign language? I'm not sure, because I don't know ASL, and I didn't pick up on any of the ASL that I like remotely know, which is thank you, and that's about it. So in the first film is just Pocahontas, except with blue people porn. And then this one is just worse, and the story is awful. There is no development in the story. The entire thing, first, they just basically explained what happened again. Spoilers, they brought back the same villain from the last film. They just cloned him as a blue dude instead. So now you have a horrible, racist, nasty man who has the appearance of an indigenous person. Because they put his memories into one of the Na'vi. The more I say things, the more I realize how much I fucking hated it. They cloned the general, they did. And now him and the horrible, like, group of soldiers he had that are all evil are Na'vi. um, they're all Na'vi now, and they're basically infiltrate the other Na'vi because they're like, oh, we have our own Na'vi. No, I'm talking about Avatar. It's spoilers, but it's just, honestly, let me spoil it for you. It's not worth watching. It's so shit. The only thing worth it about the film is that it looks pretty. It looks pretty, and they could have used that technology to do an amazing story, but instead James Cameron said, you know what? I wish I could fuck indigenous people. If you like Transformers, go watch it. Why did it make so much? Because I will tell you why. I will tell you why, and I'm going to upset some people with this. If you go on the Avatar subreddit, here's what this is. I'm going to fucking tell you right now what it is. I think I said this in Pedguin's chat when he was talking about it. Here we go. The Avatar franchise is for white people who wish they had culture because they want to live in the Avatar world. And if you are a white person in the Avatar universe, it doesn't matter because your brain can be put into an indigenous person and suddenly you have culture. That's what it is. It's because white people have such a hunger to have any sort of relevance to having culture that this film is like a self-insert. It's like Get Out. It is. So it's like people that are so obsessed with the Avatar universe, which it's cool, right? There's people who look like cats, right? It is because it's Get Out, Penguin says, so true. It is fetishization and exoticism. It really fucking is. And the people who are diehard Avatar people, I'm pretty sure is going to be like, you're obsessed with racism. It's not that I'm obsessed with racism, it's that it's blatant racism anyways. Do Nordic people not have a culture? Do you know how far removed most white people are from any sort of Nordic stuff? And people trying to connect to Nordic history is also because of white people having such a, like, deep thirst to have culture. American white people. There is, like, we are so far removed from anything like that. And I also feel like the argument of white people do have culture, and I'm going to say this as a white person, and maybe you'll get mad. I don't think we really deserve that, because a lot of the stuff that we consider our culture is stuff that we stole from other people. And that's my opinion. You don't have culture, apparently. I'm sorry. I don't have culture. Dang it. You've hit me where it hurts. I know this. I don't have culture. I'm an American. What is my culture? Nothing. I'm so far removed as... Do you know how far back I had to trace my ancestry to find anyone who wasn't from America? Because I was trying to move here? I have Irish ancestors. They're like 4 grandparents back. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Americans have culture. It involves adding ranch to everything. When I say culture, I mean traditions and, like, you know, things that tie us to our identity. I don't think there is that, especially for a lot of American people. Wonder Bread. There's distinct white cultures in Europe, of course. Chat, white America is something different. Exactly. 4th of July. It's true. And I know, like, that makes people mad. But I think that people that are getting mad are like, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm not. That's just how it is. And James Cameron made me more mad with it. I have nothing. My parents would be like, my parents are very typically like, I love them. My mom would be like, you know, we have Cherokee Indian in our past. Mom, like what? 0.10% Cherokee? Do you know why? Probably not for good reasons. And do you know why people do that when they look at their ancestry? It's that thirst for having any sort of culture in their past. Every American has that. Every American has their family that's like, we have indigenous people in our history.
Imagine Avatar but de navire British. Oi oi, the humans are coming for our space beans on space toast.
Thank you, Fushba. And feel free to correct me on any of this. This is my opinion. And I'm sorry if you're mad about it. It's an opinion. I could be wrong about things. But I do not feel like I have any sort of like traditions or anything that are inherently tied to my history, which is mostly European. So yeah, people get upset when they're not the center of attention because it's literally in our fucking genes to bitch and moan if we're not on top. Yeah. Comment Boba W and James Cameron L, not gonna lie. And it's cool to be like, here's all of the things that I have in my past. And like, try not to argue too much with each other in the chat, because people are allowed to have their opinions too. I'm having my opinion right now, because this is my show. This is my television show, and you're just here for the ride. I had to give the old Bill a ring on me mobile, because of... Stop, Simon. Yeah. I would love to have anything that makes me feel like I have, you know, traditions and stuff. But I don't, and that's okay. And I think a lot of that has to do with, like, white people's hand in history. I think we have no one to blame but ourselves anyways. And I'm okay with that. Let other people enjoy their things. Or create a tradition. Like, you being 50% European don't make it anything. We're also so far removed, especially as Americans. We are so far removed from any of that stuff. Like, my family is a decent amount Polish, apparently a decent amount Irish, Italian. I don't know if we're Jewish, because we have a traditional Jewish name. And guess what I have from all of those things? Nothing. My family will be like, we're having pierogies today. And I'm like, woo! I do like pierogies. Think they have knowledge of other culture to include themselves in it when really they only know stereotypical things. Yeah. Why does it matter? Because I think a lot of it is like, it's important to think about this stuff and recognize it too. And it's okay. I don't feel upset. No latkes. Some people like to be connected to the people who brought them to exist. That too. I think part of it is like how your family hands those things down. And like, yeah, maybe I could be like, oh, you know, my family has this much Italian. Maybe I'll learn Italian, I'll go to Italy, and all of those things too. But there's like also a lot of things that we kind of have to recognize. That just, it comes from the history, you know? This discussion is weird to me. Why do Black people in the States have culture but not white people? I think anybody who's moved to the States has a difficulty. And also, I feel like, especially with, I would say especially with people who are Black, is because, like, a lot of what I've seen in documentaries and stuff is, like, a lot of Black people didn't come over to America because they wanted to. And so, actually, a lot of Black people in America are actively trying to connect to their history because it was kind of taken from them. And a lot of that happens in, like, you know, I've seen a lot of people talking about that, especially in, like, Louisiana and stuff. And like, that's just, I don't know. It's a very heated discussion for sure. Bristol is mentioned. Oh no. Yeah. This is just like, Simon, be careful. It's weird for me when Americans talk about being 15% Irish or whatever. Why does it matter? It's because we want a way of connecting to our past, which is okay. It's okay if you want to connect to your past. Me personally, I'm okay with not doing that because I kind of identify that, like, I don't know what it is. And I think that's okay for me too. And I think it's interesting to, like, it's just interesting to talk about. And to think about and kind of, like, recognize things. We can move on. Similar attacks were waged on Italian and Irish and Scottish. A lot of American white people kind of forget about the cultures they came from. As Boba was saying in her own experience, the melting pot really took a lot from them in that way. More marginalized communities were able to retain that because they were othered for so long, their culture connectiveness was strengthened. Yeah. My moral of this story is that James Cameron just did some weird shit. I didn't appreciate it. So I didn't think it was a good film either. And a lot of people migrated to America were first asked to leave traditions behind in order to become American. That too. And some people made that their choice. The moral of this story is Avatar sucks. Yeah. And like I said, like, feel free to, like, message me, correct me, whatever, because I am not an expert in anything. And I am also just a white person who is talking about things. Found Boba playing Overwatch. This conversation feels like Overwatch. The stream title says Valheim, I don't mind the conversation. Yeah, we'll be playing soon. I'm always willing to learn, like, and I could be wrong. And I know, like, it sucks to feel like you have no connectivity to your past. Connection?
Is this
Connectivity.
about the alpaca's fucking...
Lucky Rashes, thank you very much. I just think a lot of it is about respect too, and we don't need to. Boba, aka just the white person. Whenever I think about things, like, I feel like I don't have the grounds to speak on a lot of things anyways, because I'm not POC. And I'm not going to speak for POC either, so I can only tell you my experiences that I have that are also, like, come from privilege and everything too.
Thank you for speaking up about it. Being honest, even brutally, it's very necessary, especially between mainly white groups. It's brave and scary. But it's necessary. I'm always up to talk about this stuff. Because study hello from native and black folk.
Thank you, Jay. Thinking you don't have grounds to talk about things is better than talking nonsense because you think you're right. Thanks, Sweeters. I think, like, we learn new things all the time, and also, not only that, but dialogue changes, opinions on things change, feelings about things change too. And, like, the best people to listen to about these sort of opinions are the people that it affects, and to listen to the voices of POC. That's the important takeaway. If you don't listen to anything I've said at all, which I don't blame you, don't listen to me. I'm just someone on the internet. I don't have a degree in any sort of relative thing besides art history. If there's anything you take away from this, do research, and do research that comes from people who are actually affected by these things. Do research from POC. Like, they're the voices that are the important ones in this sort of thing. I don't know shit. I can just tell you how I feel, and that's it. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. What else did I do? Fart history is true. It's true. Listen to the anecdotes of the affected. Exactly, yeah. I think one thing that I really, really liked when I was in uni is that I had Arabic art with someone who was who practiced Islam, and they talked a lot about their experiences being Muslim and being not only in America but like being a professor and all of that and raising their family. And that to me was like definitely a perspective that I hadn't heard before and really helped as well. Art history is pretty much cultural history, so your insights are interesting from that perspective. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. And I talked about it on the Thanksgiving stream as well.
Wow, Bob's Rush.
Monkey Cat, thanks for the 18 months. I talked about it on the Thanksgiving stream as well. Like, American schools, especially just what my experience in a public American school is, they do not teach you anything about voices of POC or indigenous people. It's very much like, here's what I learned about indigenous people in school. There are indigenous people who do mound burial. There are indigenous people who were here when the pilgrims came here, and we had a feast with them. And there were some fights with them, but in the end, we made peace. And then just like random shit that is like not true at all. No one wants to talk about their bad history. No one wants to talk about the bad things. They don't want to teach us about those things either. So we just didn't learn it, which is really a shame. Smiley face. The literal only thing I remember wasn't the fights, it was the Thanksgiving food and shit. The Native Americans gave us corn. It's even in Pocahontas, so you know it's true. Hard to talk about genocide when you know you're the baddies, yeah. But it's something you need to teach. Hard conversations need to be had in order for you to relate to people. Like, there's so much shit that you do not learn from American public schools. And, like, it's because public school is just so whitewashed. It's just not good. Like, there's so many like documentaries and things like that where you can teach yourself, and it is unfortunately our job to teach ourselves because your public school is not going to do it. Rose-tinted glasses history, yeah. And then they do things like Pocahontas where it's like, you know, putting a band-aid over something and kind of teaching that it was bad, but at the same time being like, everything was okay in the end. Texas has a massive influence on American education, and they are extremely anti-history of Native Americans in the Civil War. Yeah. And, like, I'm not saying that white people shouldn't try to connect to their culture. I'm saying part of the problem is that we have such a disconnect, not only from other people's cultures, but also from our own, that we are then left with no culture. And then it makes us have this weird void that we need to fill by watching Avatar. There's my thesis. The fact that we had a full-on massacre in Tulsa because of its BIPOC and didn't learn until I was 25. The Watchmen series told more about this kind of stuff than American school. In the UK, we learn about the Black Death and Henry VIII and nothing else because nothing else canonically happened in UK history. Nothing ever. Yeah. Anyways, there's so much just bad, awful history, and you need to learn it. It's so important so that it doesn't happen again. And those things that are uncomfortable and that hurt are just as important, because you need to give like memory, I feel like, to those things too, and especially to the people that were involved in them. Hey, Mattress Wolf. I think it's because I grew up in the boonies, but rural white folks definitely have plenty of their own rituals and traditions. See, Fishmully, I feel like I don't have that. That could also be my family experience, but like, do you mean like hiding the pickle in the Christmas tree? Is that German, Austrian, Polish? I don't know. Or is that just American? American culture for the majority of Americans is just consumerism and holidays to buy things for and ads to buy things for and movies with product placement. Yeah. My GCSE history was the First World War and aftermath and nothing else. Exactly. Yeah, that too. I feel like it's more regional culture than white culture, American culture. Yeah. I feel like it's weird because America is such a melting pot. I know, like, one of the things that I was so interested in when I was in uni too was, so I took French for majority of high school from like, I took it for like 4 years, right? And then I got to uni and I took French there, and my professor was a white French lady from, I think even just like, she's either from Nice or from Paris or something, right? But she still taught us about like the French wars with Algeria and everything like that. And we watched films that were about like just the things that France had done that weren't positive, which was really good because you're learning a language and you're learning a culture. You also need to learn about everything. And it also gave a lot of really good perspective when I did end up taking Arabic and when I took Arabic art, because then I had this like background knowledge of like, I took French and I know what people went through in France and what France's influence and not good things that they did. And I think that's important for every country. So I was really appreciative that we learned those things too. I think it was in our French film class that we learned about it. So the mods are working double time today. They're working double time with Boba's conversation about racism and culture. Hello. Yeah, France does have a pretty horrible history when it comes to colonies, but that's like lots of European countries and lots of like America too. And any country does not have good history, and we should learn about it. Pim is a mod. Pim is the value mod. No problem, Jay. I'll see it later. Avatar will be the cultural consciousness for a while, and then we'll move on like normal. It'll be like Avatar when it first came out. And I'll admit, I saw Avatar, how long ago did it come out? Like 10 years ago? And, or whatever. And I was like, wow, I really like the idea that we could all be connected, you know? And then that is like a really nice thought. But I didn't do the complete immersion. And I actually, it's true, I don't remember anything about the first Avatar except that it's a Pocahontas film. And that, yeah, I think that's the consensus when it comes to things. Any country? True. I don't know, because even Xylus was like talking about the Netherlands, and there was like when we were doing that map, and I was like, Xylus, what are these weird little islands in the middle of nowhere that say they're part of the Netherlands? And he's like, don't look at those. So it's like, how do you find the time to learn all of this stuff too? School would have been a great place for it. So, I don't know. Hopefully, I didn't make any of you too angry. Hopefully, it's enough to want to, like, actually open a dialogue about and think about and stuff too. My opinion is not really that matters. I'm a white person and I have white privilege and I recognize that. And also, I didn't fucking learn any of this. I had to teach myself. So I could have taught myself wrong things too. Who knows? It's the same thing with learning about, like, gender and sexuality. They don't teach that in school, so you gotta teach yourself. Anyways, think of the engagement you'll get on this as a YouTube video. Tony, avoid it. Tony! Tony! Anyways, see you, rat boy. And my opinion is that your opinion is dumb, I guess. I'm gonna say that when you say that race and gender don't matter, that is not really... Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I don't think that's a great way of putting things, because people's identities matter, people's histories matter, and if you say things like, I don't see gender and I don't see race, you're kind of... I don't know how to say this. You're kind of invalidating those people's experiences as well. You can say, I don't care what color someone is, I don't care what race they are, in order, like, that doesn't have an effect on if I'm attracted to them, it doesn't have an effect on if I want to be their friend or anything like that, but their experiences in their identity do matter. And that is important as well. So, like, I know that sentiment is very nice to have and to think of, and I used to say that too when I was younger, and I would be like, I don't see color, and it's like, but you kind of need to, because you need to recognize people's identities. Rose says when people are actively harassed and killed for it, it matters. Exactly. And, like, you have the privilege to say that you don't see race and that race doesn't matter. A lot of, like, there is such a thing as having privilege of those things. And you can't just pretend there's no racism. In a fully objective world, it wouldn't matter, but we live in a subjective world, so it very much matters. And I think especially listen to people with identities that are different from your own. Especially, and I know people get so mad when you talk about privilege because they don't want to acknowledge it's a thing. But it is. It is very much a thing. Stop! 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 What does this... Stop. Is this about the alpacas fucking... Thank you, Faraz, for the 5 gifted subs. It's complicated, but I worked on this pretty intensively for years. The shortest version is... Shortest version. The shortest version is if you don't take into account people's backgrounds and only look at what they have done, more often than not, you are ignoring the best achievements, so you have to contextualize by background, so it has to matter. Very well said, Wheaters. Thank you. Faraz, you're a sweetie. You're a sweetie. Super serious convo about race and identity, and then stop, is this about the alpacas fucking? It's hard to realize how good you have it when other people have it even better. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, gosh, privilege is just another thing entirely. But one thing that I think about when I think about, like, privilege is when people are getting hired and your job application just has your name on it and maybe your gender, the amount of people that are, like, their applications are not considered just because of the spelling of their name shows that there is this privilege, whether people are doing it consciously or subconsciously. We solved it. Racism was about the alpacas fucking... They're doing something, those alpacas. But, like, my name is spelled funny. And I still had weird things with my job applications where people were like... I got, like, a decent amount of denials from things. And it was only because my name was spelled a non-traditional way. Or just names that people associate with not being white as well. Don't hire any bobas, it's true. So that's a thing too. In California, there are so many HR laws we have in order to combat stuff like that, yeah. This is literally why a friend of mine's mother gave both her kids gender-neutral names. I have lots of friends who are people of color who have told me, when I worked at Planned Parenthood, the demographic of Planned Parenthood is like, there are so many different people. I was the only white person at my location, and everyone else was Spanish or Black, and they talked about this stuff all the time, and they would be like, the reason that I named my children what would be, like, in their words, traditional white names was because they didn't want them to face any sort of, like, prejudice on their job applications and things like that. And they, in comparison to their friends who chose different names, were like, yeah, you do see a difference. And I know some of my coworkers had names where they were, you know, traditionally white names, and they were like, yeah, like, in comparison to my sister, I get more job application interviews than she does because my name is what someone would think is a white person. My last name was westernized when it was given as they were moving here. Yeah, people will change their names too. And that's how we still force the erasure of Black culture, sadly. Exactly, Redoxed. I think in America, that's definitely a thing too. And with America, with people trying to connect to their roots as well, there are a lot of people, like, that choose specific names to try to connect to their culture too. Doesn't even have to be anecdotal. A lot of studies showing that Tyrone gets binned, but Richard gets an interview even if the resume is identical. Yeah, it's wild. It's really wild. But that's why these conversations are important. Anyways, we've done an hour of just chatting. I didn't expect it to go this direction. But it is what it is. We can play video games now. We can play Valheim. Insane chattage. We're doing it! Exclamation anyway. I try to be good people, but it's because I love everyone. This is, like, maybe dumb. I love everyone. And I love learning about other cultures in not a weird, like, exoticism or fetishism way, but in a way where I think other cultures are so beautiful and important. Other languages are so beautiful. And everyone deserves respect. And everyone deserves to be loved by other people. So, like, I like to learn about this stuff, and I like to talk about it. And I think it's important. And I love everybody.
Boba is the best.
Thank you, Kedamuno. I loved, like... I'm tangenting again. I loved learning Arabic. Because I had never had an opportunity in American public school to learn about anything Arabic or Islamic. And I loved learning about it. And I loved learning how to write in Arabic. I loved learning how to read in Arabic. I loved having a professor who was from the Middle East and who practiced Islam and talked about it. And or hijabi, like, I don't know how to say that or anything, or if that's the proper term. But I loved all of that. My Arabic is so bad and so rusty and so awful. I forgot a lot of it because I did not actively practice it. But I loved the class. No, Pip, no migraine. RP, thanks for the prime. They're pretty smart words for a person who say you do dumb talk. I be doing dumb talk. Every time I have one of these conversations, I feel my stupidity in where I can't properly articulate myself. I'm like, damn, I wish I was in college again. Since you have Polish ancestry, maybe check the story of Polish Haitians someday. It's really interesting. You can be dumb talk, but well spoken. Thank you. I do like that about the UK as well. Adam, It probably doesn't have a great history as to why the UK has a lot of diversity in it. However, I do like that there is a lot to learn in the UK because there are a lot of different cultures and a lot of good food. You say that, but I think you're very good at being nuanced enough and yet very good at explaining things. I'm also afraid because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I don't want to not say something just because I'm afraid to maybe make a mistake, because that's what learning is, and that's what I'm okay with being corrected completely, because I am not going to know everything, and I am not going to know things that maybe have changed since the last time that I researched them, because obviously I don't have this information on the daily, because once again, with white privilege, and just privilege in general, if something does not affect me, then I don't have to learn about it, and that's not good. And that's why you need to teach yourself, because there are people, like this comes especially with like trans stuff. Trans people are affected by things every single day. Every single day they are facing, you know, adversity. And they are having to learn these things. And they are having to learn how to, you know, exist as who they are. And me as a cis person, Symmetrical, thank you very much for the 7 gifted subs. I don't have to learn about anything trans. I can live my privilege of being a cis person, of never having to educate myself on anything trans because it doesn't affect me. But that's not what you should do. And that's why when you are a cis person, it is important to educate yourself. And just like when you are a white person, and maybe what's happening to someone somewhere else doesn't affect you, it doesn't mean you shouldn't learn about it. So it's all important stuff. And I make mistakes all the time too. And that's okay, because I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to be corrected. And it feels bad to make a mistake, but that's part of learning too. So teach yourself and treat yourself. Both of them. I'm gonna put on a really cool song so we can jam out. And by we, I mean you, because I'm going for a wee. What's a good song that I like? I'll just put on SZA, because I love her. So have SZA. Is this the one I want? Yeah. No. We'll have Serpiente. Serpiente. Anyways, I'm gonna go pee. And then I'm gonna play Valheim with my friends. And if I made you mad, send me a message and tell me why. And then maybe we'll both learn something. I don't know. Or don't hurt my feelings, because I'm very fragile. Or hurt them. It's fine. Alright, I'll be back.